Hello and welcome to EV Car Share. I'm Matt, and this is my first video relaying back some of the stats that I said I'd collect. So you may remember several months ago, I think it was, let me have a look at my data, June. So at the beginning of June, I said on a video that on the channel that I was going to start collecting efficiency data. So I'm not talking about how efficient can I make my journeys in this car. That's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is the variability of efficiency. Kind of what can you rely on? How much does it drop in the winter? And we all know it does drop in the winter. Electric vehicles are more prone to a bigger drop in the winter than fossil fueled powered cars. Although they also do have a drop in efficiency in the winter. So if you're looking at your miles per gallon, it'll be less in the winter than it is in the summer on petrol or diesel. Petrol more so than diesel, but electric more so than petrol. So it's important to be aware that is the case. And it's important in some respects maybe to determine how much that is the case. So in my Kia EV6, I have a regular journey that I do to a main office that I work at. It's 55 miles, goes from Peterborough to Dunstable, and obviously I go there and I go back. And so I thought, well, while I'm doing these journeys, why waste all the possibility of data? Why not collect all the data? So I've got car scanner. I connect to my car through a Bluetooth dongle, and I can pull out quite a lot of data. So that data I then, at the end of my journey to work, I take a screenshot. On the end of my journey back from work, I take a screenshot, and then I can upload those screenshots into the spreadsheet. So I have a big spreadsheet, which should be, assuming that I've done all the appropriate permissions and making things public and so on. It should be on Google Drive and available in the description of this video. Hopefully that is the case, and you can click there. Obviously, if you find it's not working or you can't get permission to access it, then just put a comment in the comments down below, and I will try and do my best to make sure it all works for you. So there are 4 tabs in my data that I'm working on. My first tab is the journey to work, and I record the date, what route I took, because there are some variations depending on traffic and closed roads and things like that. I always follow the sat nav, and sometimes it takes me different ways depending on obviously heavy traffic and so on. Distance, that is the distance as per car scanner. I mean, I think it records distance based on GPS, so it may be a bit variable. I probably would be better to put the distance in as a fixed value related to the route. I don't know how much difference that makes. I've got the journey time. You can see from the journey times that kind of an hour and 10 minutes ish, just below an hour and 10 minutes is my fastest journey to work, whereas the longest journey is as much as an hour 45. So you can be another maybe about 40 minutes, 30-40 minutes more on a bad day. I don't have the average speed, so I'd take that down just in case, because some of this I could filter out in additional ways is my plan or my thought. So better to have the data at the beginning and then not use the filtering, rather than not having the data and not be able to do anything. I then have minimum battery temperature and maximum battery temperature in order for me to produce what I call the average temperature. Now the minimum battery temperature that I'm taking is the minimum effectively, so it's the lowest value read from all of the cells of the battery, and it is also the lowest that any cell reads during the journey. Now because I start in the morning and it's cold just in the morning, then certainly when I start off, that will be the coldest time. The battery will only warm up after that. So the minimum would be the lowest cell at that point. But car scanner allows me to pull out from the data the minimum during the journey anyway. So that's what that is. The maximum obviously is the maximum cell at any point during the journey. Generally you find those two are quite close. They're normally 2 or 3 degrees for these journeys. I mean, it's only an hour's long journey, so there's not going to be a big variation in cell temperature. And also because there's no need, 55 miles each way, 110 miles, do that at least twice in a full battery. So there's no need to charge. I haven't charged on the road during any of these journeys, and I don't expect I ever would. So there's no charging effect applied to the temperature of the battery either. Then I have the battery percentage used, so that's kind of what the percentage on the dash was before I left and when I got to where I was going. I got the energy used, so that's taking from car scanner the remaining energy field. That's in watt hours, so that's again energy used is one minus the other, so what it was at the beginning compared to what it was at the end of the journey. And then from the energy used and the distance of the journey, I've then added a column which is the calculated efficiency. So this is efficiency in miles per kilowatt hour. So I've used the energy used in watt hours, obviously converted to kilowatt hours, and then I've done miles divided by kilowatt hours to get the calculated efficiency. Now this does come up differently to the efficiency shown on the dashboard of the Kia EV6. I don't know quite why, I don't know where their calculation is coming from and why it would be different to my calculation based on the data from car scanner, but there is a difference. So that's the spreadsheet, that's the data I'm taking. I have that data for both journeys, so the journey from Peterborough to Dunstable and also the journey from Dunstable back to Peterborough. And then of course the important thing is graphs, isn't it? So for both journeys I have a tab on my spreadsheet for the graph. So my Peterborough to Dunstable graph looks a bit like this, and you can kind of see that the efficiency is along the bottom. It ranges from 3.7 up to 5 at one point, mostly in the 4s, and the temperatures again range. Coldest was down at the beginning at 11.5 degrees average, hottest 25.5 degrees. So this is from the beginning of June through to now in September, and so it's kind of giving a baseline of what the summer is. It's been a poor summer in the UK, it's been quite cold, so this is a typical cold summer for us. Maybe next summer will be different, but we've now got a baseline and we'll see whether it drops down. Well, it will do, obviously, how much it drops down in the winter. Obviously I've plotted both of these lines on the same y-axis, the same scale of values, which shouldn't be a problem. Obviously the efficiency will always be down at that 4 or 5 or below. It's not going to go up and meet the average temperature of the summer. I'm not going to get 25 miles per kilowatt hour or anything like that. That's stupid. But the average temperature will drop down and drop probably below the efficiency values. On a very cold day I might get 3 or something like that, 2 for my average temperature value. So it makes sense, I think, to have the two plots on the same scale. I don't think there's any need to have a different scale. So that's the Peterborough to Dunstable graph, and then there is the same for returning on the Dunstable to Peterborough graph. Now the scale across the bottom is the date, so you'll see there's kind of big gaps between some dates and other dates when I've not been doing that particular journey, or if I've forgotten to record the data. I'm not robotic, I'm not 100% efficient, so there are occasions where I've forgotten to record the data and I think it's more common on my way home that I forgot to record the data. And when you get home, obviously first thing you want to do is get in the house, get a coffee, get changed, start your evening, etc. And so sometimes you forget to do menial things like recording data. So that's just an explanation as to why the second graph may be slightly less populated than the first. Shouldn't really matter. I haven't been selectively dropping data or anything like that. It's just my mistakes rather than anything untoward. Obviously you'll have to believe me on that one. So that is the current state of play with regard to the efficiency drives and the test data. Obviously at the moment it's flat lines. That I think is to be expected at this point. It's just been through the summer. We've not had really hot days. It's just been kind of mild summer, UK summer throughout the summer. So the efficiency should be very much the same. As we now move into winter, obviously that will drop down. Another thing that will be interesting, that data has been done on the original tyres, the Kumho PS72s, I think they are, extra PS72s, and I've worn them down now to the point where they needed changing. So I've just changed my tyres to the Michelin E-Primacies. So there may be a change in the efficiency data even without a change in the temperature based on the change of the tyres. I don't know if you're aware, maybe you are, but typically brand new tyres are less efficient than worn tyres. So you will gain efficiency after the tyres have scrubbed off and become a little bit worn. So I'm expecting, if anything, these tyres to be a little less efficient to start with. Maybe they'll be more efficient overall, but I would imagine maybe a little less efficient to start with, and that might make a difference. So hopefully this graph and this data will progress. I'm going to carry on, and hopefully this will be quite interesting to people. Let me know in the comments, is this useful? Is it interesting? What other data do you think should be included, shouldn't be included? How should I do it? How shouldn't I do it? I'm open to suggestions. I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to take any of the suggestions or all the suggestions, but I'm interested at least. And please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, if you're interested, and also like the video and comment. Subscribing is the most important thing to a person on YouTube trying to build up a channel. Definitely subscribe, give me the like as well, and comments. They're all good in order to get the video out to more people, make it seen more. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to speaking to you next time.